I'd like to invite y'all to tell you this is the town of Southwest Ranches regular council meeting. Russell, will you call the roll call, please?
Sure. Councilmember Schroeder, Councilmember Jablonski,
Here.
Councilmember Breakers, here. Vice Mayor Fiskelli,
Here.
Mayor McKay. Okay, we have a quorum.
Okay.
And for the pledge.
All right.
We can do it after the pledge.
I need a motion to excuse Doug McKay and Dee Schroeder.
Make a motion.
Second. Sorry, forgot. Second.
Councilmember Jablonski,
Yes.
Councilmember Breakers,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Fiskelli.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Flag pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, I'd like to turn this over to you, Andy, please.
Yeah, thank you, Vice Mayor. I know Mayor McKay is very unhappy to miss this tonight. I know this was his idea, wanted to bring in and recognize some of the residents this evening. But we do have the winners of the Southwest Ranches, Mr. and Miss Southwest Ranches pageant contest. And what I'd like to do is I'd like to acknowledge the winners and have them come up front as I call their names. And then we'll ask the council to come down and take a picture with the residents. So we have from Tiny Tots, ages 2 to 5, Mr. Southwest Ranches, Bo Garcia. The mini, ages 6 to 9, Miss Southwest Ranches, Reese Garcia. And in the mini, ages 6 to 9, Mr. Southwest Ranches, Seth Breeden. In our juniors, age 10 to 13, Miss Southwest Ranches and Miss Southwest Ranches Supreme first runner-up, Savannah Hodgers. Junior, ages 10 to 13, Mr. Southwest Ranches, Wyatt Garcia. We got a couple of repeat winners here for Best Eyes, Jake Garcia. For Best Smile, Brooke Breeden. Miss Congeniality, Brooke Guyson. And we do have a couple that aren't here this evening. Miss Southwest Ranches Supreme, the second runner-up, Sophia Nardi. Our most photogenic, Alexandra Montgomery. And our teen, age 14 to 17, Miss Southwest Ranches Supreme, Madison Sullivan. And if I can ask the council to go down and have a picture with the winners. And I'll tell the winners on behalf of Mayor McKay and Councilmember Schroeder, they congratulate you all, and just sorry they couldn't be here to join you this evening.
Just give me a second, guys. Thank you. Then parents after we finish with that, and council, it'd be great if you guys come close to it.
How you doing? Everything all right? Okay. Smile.
For the wife and home for me. Perfect. All right, one more, and then parents, come on up, please. Great. Wow, I gotta go to the parking lot. All right, big smiles, everybody. Smile. One more time. Perfect, thank you. Congratulations, kids.
Thank you.
What happened? What happened?
We found the original, it was attached to a lawsuit that was filed against the town, the original feasibility study from 1999 creating the town. And I have to now present that in the CCA litigation, so
For
I
CCA or
was
for
looking
us?
for it today and he was gonna throw it out. We're almost done.
It's time for public comments. Keith, do we have any cards?
Thank you, Vice Mayor. We have two speakers today. Each speaker is entitled.
Three.
Three? Three speakers today,
Could you move the podium?
and then it is fully closed. Each speaker is entitled to 3 minutes. All discussions have to be directed towards council. Some people violated that last week. No comment. Starting off with David Kaczynski, followed by Tom Brown, and following Newell Hollingsworth. So just come up one after another.
Happy February, Council. David Kaczynski, 6411 Hullity Trail. Purpose of my coming to the council has to do with Sterling Road, the speeding, and there's been some reports. One of my neighbors that live at approximately 133rd Street cross of Sterling Road, she lives on the north side of Sterling, and she has to cross Sterling to get to her mailbox. And I think it was about a week ago, she calls me and says that she was walking across the street, and a car had passed another car in that zone where it's no speeding, and actually ran off the side of the road, nearly hit her. So she had asked me to ask the council if there's a way we can put in, not rumble strips, which everybody seems to fly over, but if we can put in the type of speed bumps like they have over in Davie, if that can be looked into to slow down the traffic on Sterling Road. And that's what she asked me to ask of the council. Thank you.
Thank you. David? No, sorry. Tom Brown. Sorry about that.
Sorry about that. It's Tony Brown. My handwriting's a little, was in a hurry there. Yeah, sorry about that. So the last week since Sunday, we've had an alarm, a house alarm going off next door since Sunday, and they finally turned it off yesterday. And it's extremely disruptive. I mean, through the entire night, we've got that alarm going off. I'm pleased to say that I've gotten to meet a good number of the Davie Police Department officers. I'm amazed at how many different police officers patrol this neighborhood. I know there's nothing they could have done because they couldn't even get over into the yard because it's a large wall between the house and the fence. So I actually even called Robert from Code Enforcement, so hopefully he got my message. I never got a call back about it, but the Davie Police have been out almost 2-3 times a day, so hopefully there's some sort of regulation in place where there's a limit to how many times police officers will go out to a house, and also that there's a fine that goes out to an alarm that is constantly going off. The other thing is, I'm not sure why they even have the alarm sounding outside the house. I don't know, nobody responds to that anyway. Nobody's picking up the phone except for me. None of my other neighbors. They're all upset about it, but I'm the only one that is actually calling. So I don't know why they even have to have that alarm sounding outside the house. It's fine to dispatch the police, but why constantly have it, especially if nobody's coming to the house to turn the thing off. So that's my comment.
Thank you. Newell?
Vice Mayor? Vice Mayor, if I may, Mr. Brown or Barone? Can I get that address? Or, yeah, your address or the address of the house with the alarm, because I want to make sure we handle it properly.
Andy, it's right across the street from my house.
Is it? It's over by you? Okay.
Newell Hollingsworth, 199th Avenue. Let's talk some trash again. At the last meeting, Squeaky Wheel got up here and talked about the garbage and everything. There has been improvement. They have, on Wednesday, picked up all three on the same day. Amazing. But there still needs some education that needs to be done. We're still getting garbage cans in the middle of 199th. And not as many. They're hitting the road, the sides of the road 50% of the time, but I think another training course stating what a asphalt road is and what a swale and dirt is might help, where they get the cans onto the swale and dirt instead of leaving them in the asphalt road. The other thing is the claw. While it's showing up on the proper day, it's still not very neat, leaving branches in the middle of the road, taking out, well, they took about 2 cubic feet of dirt out of my front yard swale, but I'm not worried too much about it because I don't own it, the town does. So, though I have to maintain it. It's not on my deed. So, I'm suggesting that maybe they have behind the claw truck, they have a dirt truck with a bobcat in order to spread the dirt. Where they take it out, they can put it back in at the same time and no one will be complaining after that. So, you know, there is an education that needs to be done. They're not as rough as the FEMA guys were, which were in a class all by themselves as far as pickup, but they're not neat and they're not careful, and they need a little bit more training, I think, on the use of the claw. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. No further speakers.
Okay. Our next item is board reports.
Bob Hartman, Chair of the Drainage and Infrastructure Advisory Board. I just wanted to bring you up to date, and I think all three of you guys were there last night, but for the record, we made the original recommendation on putting pads on both new construction where we've talked about along the canals in Sunshine Ranches and in a few other spots around town. Last night, after lengthy discussion, we talked about putting them everywhere on new construction only. Last night, we had a lengthy discussion on the wisdom of that decision. I think what we didn't think about in our original discussions is that if we start putting these pads, which could be, 8 by 16, 5 by 12, something pretty considerable size, we could also be obstructing the drainage since they'd be in the swales in a lot of cases. So a couple of negatives there. Obviously, we don't want to restrict the flow of water. If there is a rainstorm after somebody puts out their bulk, it could clog the secondary and the tertiary drainage system components. So we've brought that back to a recommendation of just putting these trash pads for bulk along the new construction along the canals. Simplified it that much more. Within the next 2 months, Rod is going to bring forward a presentation with some recommendations on this. So we're supposed to see it at the next Drainage Committee meeting or perhaps the following, depending on his schedule. So this should be the last of my updates other than when Rod comes to present. Regarding garbage, what a difference one street can make. Yesterday, after everybody was all done, and they were done on my street by noon, which I don't think has ever happened. Bulk is usually late in the afternoon, but they were all done by noon. Drove up and down the road before I went to the Drainage Committee last night, Everybody's pails were upright. There was no bulk left. I didn't see any pails that were laying down upside down on the wrong side. So on my street, I also didn't notice any bulk debris left. Today I walked the dog and double checked it the length of the street. They did a good job on our street this time. So I'm glad to see the discussion that was had with their vice president of operations was taken to heart, and hopefully this will continue. And if they are needing to improve service anywhere, they get better and better. Thank you.
Thank you. Any more board comments? All right, it's time for the council comments.
I'll go first.
All right.
No, sorry, go ahead, Steve. Just kidding.
All right, I just a couple of responses. For the comment about the alarm going off, I think that's, I know we're already looking at that for other situations. That's not an isolated situation. Andy was, when I spoke to him on Monday, I know he was already looking at that related to another place in town. So that just kind of adds fuel to the fire, Andy, that we really, time has come that we need to take some action on that. David, as far as the speed bumps, I mean, that obviously would have to go to the residents of that area and see if that's really what we want to do. The other thing you had mentioned, it was speed bumps like in Davie. I don't know. Maybe you can expound, not this moment, but expound on exactly what that is or communicate what that exactly is, because I don't know what that references particularly, but that would be helpful. Then the last thing I wanted to touch on is the waste disposal. I know for my experience this week was, frankly, it was stellar. I actually, everything was picked up on the right day, and I decided I'd like to tell you that I planned it this way, but I didn't. But anyhow, I had a major crop of coconuts out there, and I was curious to see whether the coconuts would be picked up, because you can't pick those up with the grabber, you know, they fall right through, and every coconut was gone. So I thought they did a great job from my standpoint, and looking up and down the road. Like I said, it may be a road-by-road thing, but I thought the cans and everything were in good shape. So I want to give, when they do something wrong, we certainly let them know about it last meeting, but when they do something right, it's important to let them know it as well. So as far as my experience, they did all right. But the other thing I wanted to touch on was we had a gentleman here at the last meeting talking about the rates, the commercial rates for the bins that were out there, and there was a significant increase. We talked about that last time based on the fact that the rates had been abnormally low prior to that, and now they're getting to the market rate. And since that information has been provided on the actual rates for communities around us, and we're at 14.9 per cubic yard. Just as an example, Davie is 16.2. There's some a little lower. Pembroke Pines is 13.57. Cooper City is 15.22. So all the way up, Miramar is between 17 and 25. So we don't have the lowest rates in town, but we certainly don't have the highest rates in town either. We're a market rate, competitive rate in the middle. So I think we're in pretty good shape there. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice Mayor, Council Member. I'll be brief, just a few things I want to mention. First off, want to comment, add on to what the gentleman made about the alarms going off. We do have an ordinance for that, and based on, I think, the first nuisance call is a freebie, but after that, there's an escalating scale, as I recall, where it really significantly costs a lot of money for the police to come out there. And goes, yes.
Can I apologize for interrupting.
Yeah,
I think you're right. But I think the scale needs to escalate a little bit more than what it does. I'm not sure it gets to a high enough level.
We can review it, but I think
Right.
by the second or third, it's up to like $200 or $300 per call.
Yeah.
By the second or third one. And the reason I know that is because I have an alarm system, and I made very sure that got plastered everywhere
Right.
in my house.
Right. Right.
So just want to mention that. And the other thing on the, I know on the bulk removal and on the garbage pickup, we really did a number on them last meeting. Okay, let's be frank. I mean, we were very, very serious about it, and I've seen a lot of improvement. And I noticed in my neighborhood, so I must have to assume this is kind of around the whole town because I went up and down the street to see it. But where there was known gouge marks, somebody put in fill, and you could tell it was tapped down because it was a different color. It looked like road gravel, you know, the light-colored road gravel that had been tapped down in a lot of holes that were made by the claw. So I don't know if I'm pretty sure the garbage company had something to do with that. So I just want to mention that they were being a proactive on that. The other things are just some public service announcements for this month. We've got the garage sale in the park at the Equestrian Park on the 17th from 8 to 12. It's a townwide garage sale. And we have the chili cook-off on the 24th, Saturday at the Equestrian Park from 12 to 4:30. And way out in March, we have Water Matters Day on the 10th, Saturday at Treetops Park. We're an active participant in that. I think it's been 17, 15, 16, I was close, years in a row. And December and Chris really put together one really good display, and I urge everybody to take advantage of that and go see how water matters in South Florida. And that's from 9 to 3 p.m. And I think the park admission is the only cost to get into Treetops Park, which is located off of Griffin Road and 100th Avenue. And I'll wrap it up with that, Vice Mayor. Back to you.
Thank you. Any more comments? All right, how about legal comments?
Sure, Vice Mayor. You took my thunder on the alarm. We are looking into that as a result of a establishment in the town that had 16 false alarms last year, and basically said they'd rather pay the fine rather than fixing it because the fine was so reasonable.
Right, which is why I'm saying that we may want to revisit that,
Yeah.
that scale.
So definitely that is something we're looking into. On the legal side, a few things just to mention. I did have the opportunity to watch the meeting, what was it, last meeting, 2 weeks ago. Definitely a meeting that should be watched by a lot. That was a pretty crazy night between the mayor's illness and other things that transpired. The reason why I'm even bringing it up is because as we head towards election season, I think it's important for the council to make a determination as to political campaigning and speeches in council chambers. Most municipalities have regulations for or against it. It's up to you. It's your decision. But if you're for it and you provide a certain amount of time, every candidate has to be granted that same amount of time. If you are not for it and basically say you have your 3 minutes, talk to the council your 3 minutes and leave, that's fine too. But just a reminder that everyone will have to have equal access, and at some point the council has to make a decision on what to occur. Also, something that occurred on a legal note that I just want to bring up is that during public comment, comments are made to the council, and some of the time, or most of the time, quite frankly, it's nothing wrong telling a resident, we'll have to look into it and get back to you. In the case that you brought up recently about the gentleman who was complaining about his dumpster fee going up, he left that meeting, had the transcript transcribed, and hired an attorney who's already contacted us about the matter. So, sometimes things are said on a spur of the moment that you can't, you really don't want to say then, and that's why there's nothing wrong with saying, thank you for your comment, we'll talk to you later. Just 2 points that came out of last meeting. Other than that, we are diligently working on the CCA litigation, still planning to go to trial in April, still awaiting the Supreme Court decision to deny Pine's appeal in the CCA case. And I've begun drafting for oral argument the history of the CCA property, and I'm about 8 pages in on a very lengthy history of the town dating back to Sheriff Cochran, and I think what I told my office is after this is done and the case is over, we'll definitely publish that, maybe put it in the historical portion of the town's website to really give a full overview of how the town developed around that property. And that being said, Russell handed me a minute ago the first lawsuit that was ever filed against the town. And that was, for those of you who don't remember, Councilmember Vice Mayor Fisickelli was here. Peter Lettery sued the town, the first meeting ever of the town, attempting to de-annex and de-incorporate the town, saying that the incorporation of the municipality was illegal for multiple reasons, including the fact that it didn't have contiguous borders. But in the complaint which he filed, he also attached the 1999 feasibility study on the town. And why that study is so important is the FAU, who did the analysis, stated that in order for the town to be successful and survive, that it believed that based on its limited commercial industrial base, that it couldn't support itself on just residential lands. That if it did, the millage rate would have to be exceptionally high in order to sustain the municipality. And as a result of it, it recommended to the Florida legislature that if the town creates its own municipality, you have to include the CCA property and half the Coquina shopping plaza in it, or the town won't be able to support itself. So I just found it an interesting piece of history, going back and reading the study, and we've done quite well. Of course, they were trying to keep us at 3.5, but it worked out pretty good. So that's it, Vice Mayor.
Okay, Andy, it's your turn.
Yeah, thank you, Vice Mayor. I actually don't have anything to add this evening.
Wow.
I'll have no
Resolution.
report next month either.
Yeah.
Next item.
Okay.
I didn't hear what you said. I want to get y'all's opinion on this when I say that to the council. These two items here, 9 and 10, do you want to table those until the whole council's here, or y'all want to go ahead and do it?
I think that there's still on item number 9, which is the vehicle purchase. I think there's still some give and take going on there. And I think Councilmember Schroeder was one of the key folks that wanted input onto that. And with the second one, item 10, is the performance reviews. I think that's important for the whole council. So I don't know if I need to move it separately, or I can do them both together.
You can do it both together.
I would move, I don't know, unless Councilman Jablonski. So I would move that those two items are rescheduled for the next meeting.
Second.
Call the question?
Councilmember Jablonski,
Yes.
Councilmember Brikers,
Yes.
and Vice Mayor Fisickelli.
Yes.
And just for purposes of the council who's here, I did have an opportunity to meet extensively with Andy about that performance review. I've drafted an email, which I have not sent to you all yet because I didn't want it mixed with the other items. So prior to the next meeting, I'll send it far enough in advance that we can discuss it one-on-one if anyone has questions.
Good.
Number 11.
Just this item.
Do I get a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Call the question?
Councilmember Jablonski,
Yes.
Councilmember Brikers,
Yes.
and Vice Mayor Fisickelli.
I apologize, I haven't been calling public comment on these items. We don't have that many people here, but
The only one, Vice Mayor, would be 11. Did anyone have any comments on the minutes? We're okay.
that's it.
That's it. Meeting adjourned.
Motion to adjourn.
All right.
Second.
Second. We're adjourned.
Russell's going to have to check the minutes to see if it's a new record or not.